following is a presentation of the Magnitude Sports Network.
Kicks and finds Johnson for two.
Time. Let's head up to the broadcast booth for the pregame show right now on Magnitude Sports.
Hello and welcome to tonight's girls volleyball game between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and your DGF Rebels. DGF comes in with a record of 0-2, and Pelican Rapids also comes in with a record of 0-2, making tonight a very, very important game for both teams. DGF's last game was at home versus Wadena Deer Creek, where they lost 3-0. First set 25-17, second set 25-11, third set 25-16. And Pelican's last game was away at Hillcrest, where they lost 3-0 and took some very strong leads, but had some errors that took away the lead from them. So we'll be interested to see tonight what they do and how they've improved throughout their practice. We'll take a quick break to thank some of our sponsors, and we'll come back. I had the chance to sit down with Miss Heidi Eisman, the Pelican Rapids head coach, not too long ago, so we'll get to hear some good words from her, and we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are four of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Welcome back to the brand new Rebel Gym, where the DGF Rebels are taking on the Pelican Rapids Vikings. So I said earlier, I got the chance to sit down with Miss Heidi Eisman, the head coach of the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Fun fact for everybody, I worked for the Pelican Rapids Vikings last year. So I have a little bit of inside knowledge that I'll be sharing with you, perhaps, throughout the game. As I said, last year, DGF played Pelican Rapids on Thursday, October 14th, and they won 3-1. So a pretty decent game. If I remember correctly, I don't have the scores right off the top of my head, but I do remember it being a close game and a very good game. So we'll take a minute and hear what Miss Heidi Eisman has to say about this year's game. So I am here with Miss Heidi Eisman, the Pelican Rapids head coach. A few questions for you, Heidi. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. So when did you start coaching in Pelican?
Oh boy, you start off with a hard one.
I know.
This is my 24th year coaching in Pelican, but I started head coaching in 2010, so
okay.
12 years.
Wow. So what do you consider some of your team's biggest strengths this year?
We have a really fun group of girls. Small roster, but very scrappy. Great effort, just great energy, chemistry of these girls, trust levels really high. So it's just really fun to see them progressing, especially at the defensive level of just going after every ball.
Love that. So you have a very strong team. But where do you think your faults are going to come into play?
Well, like anything, especially early season, we have a little bit of that inconsistency, some unearned points that we want to clean up and execute at a little bit higher level. So we're getting a little bit cleaner each game. We're getting a little bit higher execution, and then just trying to speed up our complex offense.
Absolutely, and I think that's something every team is experiencing right now.
Absolutely.
So what are you seeing I assume you've watched some DGF film. What are you seeing?
have.
What are you seeing from them right now?
Well, DGF is such a strong program. They have great numbers. They have nice, strong front row. They've always had really good power servers, great spot servers. So I think with DGF, we just have to get ourselves in system to keep them on their toes a little bit. We have to block cover. They got strong blockers, and we have to really power through and use some cut shots and just be aware of their big size on the front row. Move the ball around.
Who should we watch out for on your team tonight?
Tonight, well, our libero, Morgan Korf, she's all over the place and is starting to just get better every game at reading that ball. So Morgan does a good job of keeping the ball in play for us. We started a new offense this year with 2 brand new setters. Out of our middles, Ellie Welch and Anna Roysum are really doing a good job running that 6-2 out of the middle. They're getting better every game. So Anna's starting to bring more and more power at the net. And then Kelsey Eisman is probably our power hitter on the outside that's starting to come around and find the open spots.
All right, anything else you want to share with us?
No, I'm looking forward to this beautiful gym, and it's always a great matchup with DGF, so it should be a great energy.
All right, thank you, Heidi, and good luck.
Thanks, Chris.
So if Heidi didn't make it clear enough, we're in for a good game tonight. DGF JV team defeated Pelican Rapids 2-0 earlier tonight. First set 25-7. Pelican Rapids really came back with a really nice rally in the second set, but lost 25-22. Very close game. Take a quick break for a couple ads and look a little bit deeper into the Pelican Rapids Vikings when we come back.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to the brand new Rebel Gym, where the DGF Rebels are taking on the Pelican Rapids Vikings. The Pelican Rapids Vikings, they have lost to both Park Christian and Hillcrest in 2 non-conference games this season so far. The game versus Park Christian, they lost 3-1. Set 1 was won by Park Christian 25-23, and neither team took more than a 3-point lead in that entire set. For set 2, Park Christian also won 25-15, but Pelican Rapids came back in set 3 and won 25-21. And starting with a 7-point run in that set, Pelican Rapids really came back and was able to keep the game going. Set 4, Park Christian won 25-14, ending the game 3-1. Versus Hillcrest, they lost 3-0, but took leads of 10-1 and 13-8 in the opening set. But as Coach Eisman said in an interview, errors took away the rhythm of their team. So if I know anything about Coach Eisman, there is definitely some work and practice done on that, and we'll be paying close attention tonight to see how that's developed. For the Rebels, they have lost to both Detroit Lakes and Wadena Deer Creek so far this season. The Detroit Lakes game was at Detroit Lakes High School, where they lost 3-0. First set, 32-30, a very long set. Second set, 25-6. Third set, 25-12. So, in analyzing that, I think exhaustion definitely took a big play into that. the game versus Wadena Deer Creek on Tuesday. They lost 3-0. First set 25-17, second set 25-11, third set 25-16. Earlier tonight, the DGF JV team and the Pelican Rapids JV team competed, and DGF won 2-0. DGF won the first set 25-7, and the second set 25-22. So the Pelican Rapids Vikings came back with a really nice rally, bringing that second set to a very close score. Looking at some of the Pelican Rapids Vikings players for tonight, freshman Morgan Korf, number 2, is playing libero. Versus Hillcrest, she had 21 digs and 1 ace, and versus Park Christian had 30 digs and 2 assists. Very skilled player in both volleyball and basketball, especially for a freshman. Sophomore Hazel Haugrud, outside hitter, number 1, had 11 digs versus Hillcrest and 16 versus Park Christian. Senior Kelsey Eisman, outside hitter, versus Hillcrest had 9 digs, 5 aces, and 5 kills, and versus Park Christian, 12 digs and 4 kills. Sophomore Anna Roysum, middle hitter and setter, versus Hillcrest had 8 digs, 9 set assists, and 5 kills. Versus Park Christian, 5 kills, 1 block kill, 11 assists, and 6 digs. And rounding up some of the Pelican Rapids stars, junior Ellie Welch, middle hitter and setter, versus Hillcrest had 5 kills, 5 set assists, and 5 digs. Versus Park Christian, 6 kills, 2 block assists, 7 assists, and 7 digs. A very skilled team for the Pelican Rapids Vikings this year, only losing 2 seniors, setter Sophia Paulson and outside hitter Tori Stephenson. But as Coach Eisman said earlier, they have a brand new offense running 2 new setters. So we'll see how that comes into play this year. Last year the Vikings had a 16-13 overall record. Having a pretty decent season last year. This year, the Pelican Rapids captains are Kaya Nelson and Kelsey Eisman, and the DGF captains are Peyton Backus and Madison Schmidt. Take a break for some commercials and come back shortly with your starting lineups.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are 4 of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Here at the brand new Rebel Gym, we're just getting ready for our starting lineups for tonight. Let's take a look at the Pelican Rapids Vikings starting lineup. Starting as an outside hitter, number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Starting as libero, number 2, Morgan Korf. Starting as a right side hitter, number 5, Grace Backstrom. Starting as both a middle hitter and setter, number 9, Anna Roysum. Starting as an outside hitter, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Starting as a middle hitter and setter, number 14, Ellie Welch. Starting as a right side hitter, number 15, Marie Backstrom. And for your DGF Rebels, starting at outside hitter, number 4, Madison Schmidt. Starting as libero, number 6, Camille Costello. Starting as your setter, Number 8, Lindsay Navela, starting as your outside hitter. Number 12, Peyton Backus, starting as a middle hitter. Number 13, Layla Fuss, starting as a right side hitter. Kaylee Peterson, number 15. And starting as a middle hitter, number 18, Aria Garrett. We'll take a quick break for the national anthem and be back shortly for your beginning of tonight's game.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are 4 of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
Welcome back to the DGF Rebel Gym, where we're just finishing the national anthem, and they are just about to announce starting lineups. So we will turn it over to the DGF announcer to tell you a little bit more about tonight's players.
To administer the rules of the sport. Line judges tonight are Tara Jacobson and Barbara Roloffs. Let's take a moment and give our officials our thanks. Without them, we won't play volleyball tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. Now let's meet the players from each team. First, for the visitors on the scoreboard, the Vikings from Pelican Rapids. Number 1, Hazel Hungru. Number 2, Morgan Korf. Number 3, Ava Simpson. Number 5, Grace Backstrom. Number 9, Anna Royson. Number 11, Kelsey Eisenman. Number 12, Kaya Welch, or Kaya Nelson, excuse me. Number 14, Ellie Welch. Number 15, Maria Backstrom. Number 16, Claudia Garrett. Number 17, Zayla Arrow. Number 18, Zaylee Arrow. Assistant coaches, Maria Kupke, Amanda Bells, Madison Oswald, Whitney Gravelin, Jill Royson. Head coach, Heidi Eisenman. Now let's meet the lineup for your DGF Rebels. Number 1, Lucy Hilton. Number 2, Ava Johnson. Number 3, Michaela Bielan. Number 4, Madison Schmidt. Number 5, Michaela Winter. Number 6, Camille Costello. Number 8, Lindsay Nola. Number 9, Leighton Wilson. Number 10, Ellie Boyd. Number 11, Chloe Fuller. Number 12, Pete Backus. Number 13, Willa Fuss. Number 14, Hallie Schreiber. Number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Number 17, Madeline Iwin. Number 18, Aria Garrett. Student managers, Olivia Sanders, Greta DeVries, Annalise Oz. Volunteer coach, Morgan Dalzell. Assistant coaches, Serena Hansen, Steph Hansen, Andrea Anderson, head coach, Tessa Tisbert. Vikings Rebels, let's play Heart Lakes Volleyball.
There you have it. Both teams take the court as we get prepared to start set number 1 of tonight's volleyball game between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Last year, DGF played Pelican Rapids at Pelican Rapids High School on Thursday, October 14th. So a little bit deeper into the season. DGF won 3-1. Fun fact for you, I worked that game as well. But on the other side, I worked for the Vikings. Vikings will start serving tonight. Serving for the Vikings. Number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Ball goes across the court. Sent back. Blocked back across to the Vikings. Sent back across. Sent across by the Rebels, received by Kelsey Eisman. Sent across by Marie Backstrom, received by the Rebels. Sent back across. Bumped across by Ellie Welch, received by the Rebels. Spiked across. Ball goes out of bound, point Vikings. Hazel Haugrud gets ready to serve the ball, sends it across, received by the Rebels. Dug out by Morgan Korf, received back by the Rebels. Blocked by the Rebels. That block gives them their first point of, or their second point of tonight's game. Their first point, excuse me. Ball sent across by the Rebels, received by the Vikings, sent back across. Hit out of bounds, point DGF. Ball sent across. Point Rebels. Rebels serve the ball. Received by the Vikings, sent back across. Hit, touched across by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Spiked across by Kelsey Eisman. Kelsey Eisman gets the point for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Marie is a junior this year. Received by the Rebels. Sent across, hits the net, but makes it across. Spiked over, but blocked by the Rebels. Spiked back over. Touched back over. Point by Kaylee Peterson for the Rebels. Serving for the Rebels is their libero, number 6, Camille Costello. Ball is short, giving the point to the Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 14, Ellie Welch. Ball is sent across. Point Vikings. Ball is sent across. Received by the Rebels. Spiked across. Block attempt no good. Saved by the Vikings. Set up. Spiked across. Received by Morgan Korf. Set up. Point Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Ball sent across, received by Morgan Korf. Set up by Ellie Welch. Point DGF. Ball is sent across. Hits the net. Point Vikings. In for the Rebels, number 17, Madeline Iwin. And serving for the Vikings, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Ball sent across by Eisman. Received by the Rebels. Set up. Spiked across. Set up by the Vikings. Spiked back across. Blocked by the Rebels. Point Rebels for 4 touches. Serving for the Rebels, number 12, Peyton Backus. Backus is a senior this year. Sends a ball across, received by the Vikings. Set across. Point Vikings.
Point Vikings. Morgan Korf serving for the Vikings.
Serving for the Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. Sent across. Received by Camille Costello. Sent back across. Spiked across. Touched by Kelsey Eisman. Point DGF. Serving for the Rebels, number 13, Layla Fuss. Ball sent across. Received by the Vikings. Set up. Spiked across. Point Pelican Rapids. Serving for the Vikings is now number 9, Anna Roysum. Sends the ball across, received by the Rebels. Sent back across, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Spiked across by Kelsey Eisman. Received very nicely by the Rebels, set up by the Vikings. Sent back across. Sent across by the Rebels. Vikings once again setting it up. Block attempt. And Ellie Welch gets a point for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Tying the game 8-8. Ball sent across by Anna Roysum, received by the Rebels. Sent back across by the Rebels. Spiked across by Ellie Welch, received by the Rebels. Sent back across. Set up by the Rebels, spiked by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Bumped across by the Vikings, received by DGF. Touched across by the Rebels. Spiked across by the Vikings. Vikings set it up for a, the Rebels set it up for a spike. Sent across by the Vikings. Point goes to the Vikings for 2 touches. Coach Eisman gives her girls some directions as they send the ball across. Spiked across by the Rebels. Point goes to the Rebels, point by Madison Schmidt. Tying the game once again, 9-9. Serving for the Rebels, number 8, Lindsay Navela. Point goes to the Vikings for a net violation by the Rebels. Number 1, Hazel Haugerud serving for the Vikings. She sends the ball across. Received by Camille Costello, set up, spiked across. Ball just hits the line for a point to DGF. In for DGF, number... Excuse me, I missed who comes in, but somebody did definitely come in for DGF. Serving for DGF, number 4, Madison Schmidt. It hits the net, giving the point to the Vikings. Marie Backstrom now serving for Pelican Rapids. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels, set up, spiked, partially blocked by the Vikings, set up, sent back across by Ellie Welch, received by the Rebels. Spiked across, blocked, partially. Sent across by Kelsey Eisman, sent back across by Camille Costello, received by the Vikings, bumped across. Point DGF. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Ball sent across, received by Hazel Haugerud, set up, spiked across, bumped across. Received by the Rebels, set up. Spiked across by Kelsey Eisman, sent right back over the net. Once again, spiked over by Kelsey Eisman, but the ball goes out of bounds, giving the point to your DGF Rebels. Ball sent across, received by Morgan Korf. Set up, sent over the net. Ball hits the line, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Now serving for the Vikings, number 14, Ellie Welch. Ball sent across the net, received by the Rebels. Tipped across, set up, sent across. Point Vikings, point by number 5, Grace Backstrom. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels. Sent back across, received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked across by Anna Roysum. The ball goes off one of the DGF Rebels' hands, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels, set up. Sent across, blocked. Ball goes into the floor, giving the point to the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, now number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Ball sent across, received, goes way back, but Morgan Korf almost makes it over the net with a really long pass, but still. Point goes to the DGF Rebels, tying the game once again, 14-14. Ball sent across, received by the Vikings. Blocked, received back by the Vikings. Sent across, dug out by the Rebels. And 4 hits gives the Pelican Rapids Vikings their 15th point of the game. In for the Rebels, number 17, Madison Iwin, and number 5, Michaela Winter. Serving for the Vikings is Kelsey Eisman. Ball is sent across, received by the Rebels, sent back across with a very, very strong spike. Gives the point to the DGF Rebels. In for the Rebels, number 4, Madison Schmidt. Serving for the Rebels is number 12, Peyton Backus. Ball spiked over. Another point for Pelican Rapids, Grace Backstrom. Pelican Rapids libero Morgan Korf now serving. Ball sent across, received, hits the net. Point Vikings. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels. Set up, touched across. Sent back across immediately by the Vikings. Touched across. Ball hits the floor. Point DGF Rebels. Timeout is called by the Pelican Rapids Vikings. We will also take a quick timeout and join you for this very close game. Vikings up 17-16.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are 4 of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Welcome back to the DGF Rebel Gym, where the Pelican Rapids Vikings have come out of their first timeout against the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels is number 13, Layla Fuss. Fuss sends the ball across, received by Kelsey Eisman. Set up, goes right across. Bumped right across by Morgan Korf, dug out and sent across. Touched over, blocked. Rebels sends the ball out of bound. Point Pelican Rapids Vikings. Now serving for the Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Sends the ball across. Received by DGF. Tipped across. Ball goes out of bounds, but ball goes inbounds, excuse me. Point Rebels. In for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson, and number 8, Lindsay Navela. Navela serving. Ball sent across. Hits the ground for an ace by Lindsay Navela. Ball sent across, received by the Vikings. Set up, spiked across by Welch. Block attempt, no good. Pelican Rapids Vikings get their 19th point.
Hazel Hauger now serving for the White
Serving for the Vikings. Number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Haugrud serves the ball across, received by the Rebels. Bumped up, spiked across, set up. Bumped across by the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Tipped across by the Rebels. Spiked across by the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Bumped across by the Rebels, set up, and tipped over by the Vikings. Ball hits the ground, point Vikings. Ball sent across by Haugrud. Haugrud gets an ace, and the Rebels call a timeout. We will also take a quick timeout and be back with some more Rebels volleyball soon.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
As we come out of the DGF Rebels' first timeout against the Pelican Rapids Vikings, we have a score update for you from another one of our Magnitude broadcasts tonight. The DL Lakers take set 1 25-17 over Park Rapids. As Haugrud sends the ball across, it is received by the Rebels, set up, spiked over, giving the point to the DGF Rebels. Point by Kaylee Peterson. Serving for the Rebels, Madison Schmidt. Ball sent across by Schmidt, received by the Vikings. Set up, spiked across, but blocked. Received by the Rebels. Bumped up, spiked across, blocked once again by the Vikings. Set across, tipped across. Ball hits the floor, point Rebels. Ball sent across by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Bumped up, spiked across, received by the Rebels. Set up for a spike, blocked by the Vikings. Point Vikings! Serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Ball sent across by Backstrom, received by the Rebels. Set up, spiked across. Touched over by the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Bumped back over by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Set up, spiked over by Kelsey Eisman. Rebels with the dig. Vikings receive the ball. Set up. Point Rebels! In for the Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Ball received by Korf, set up, spiked over by Welch. Goes out of bounds. Point Rebels, tying the game. Ball sent over by the Vikings, received back by the Rebels, set up, spiked over, ball hits the ground, point Rebels. Timeout is called by the Vikings. DGF Rebels lead the Vikings 24-22. We'll be back shortly with the end of your first set.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
We are at set point for the DGF Rebels as Camille Costello sends the ball across, is received by the Vikings, set up, tipped across. Point Rebels, and the first set goes to your DGF Rebels. We will take a quick break and come back with the second set between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success. Doolittle's Wood-Fired Grill is an experience that ignites your senses, featuring wood-fired rotisserie cooking. Grilling meat over an open flame creates that savory wood-roasted flavor, while the rotisserie rotation results in juicy and succulent meats. Doolittle's even has an outdoor fire pit that creates a relaxing setting to wine and dine for any occasion. Visit DoolittlesRestaurants.com for a full menu or to make a reservation. Doolittle's Wood-Fired Grill, 2112 25th Street South in Fargo, or call ahead at 701-478-2200.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are 4 of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Coach Eisman said it, folks. We are in for a good game tonight. DGF took the first set over the Pelican Rapids Vikings, 25-22. As both teams retake the court, just some words of advice from their coaches. Serving for the Rebels, number 8, Lindsay Nevela. Ball sent across by Nevela, received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked across, received by the Rebels, set up. Spiked across and blocked by the Vikings, giving the Vikings the first point of the set. Serving for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Ball sent across by Backstrom, received by the Rebels, set up. Set across, bumped over by the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Spiked over, dug out by Hazel Haugrud. Set over, ball goes out of bounds, point Rebels. Serving for your Rebels. Number 4, Madison Schmidt. Ball sent across by Schmidt, received by the Vikings. Sent over, point Vikings. Now serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 14, Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball across, giving Ellie Welch an ace for the Vikings. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels. Spiked over. Sent over. Really impressive save there by Camille Costello for the Rebels. Ball sent over, but blocked by the Rebels. Set up. Spiked over by the Rebels. Spiked back over by Kelsey Eisman. Dug out by number 12 for the Rebels. Set over. Ball set up, spiked over, out of bounds, point Rebels. Serving now for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Ball sent across, received by the Vikings. Set up, spiked across by Anna Roysum. Ball hits the ground, giving Anna Roysum a kill for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Now serving for the Vikings, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Ball sent across, received by the Vikings, spiked across, received by the Rebels, sent right back across. Ball goes out of bounds, point DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Ball sent across, received by the Vikings, tipped across. Point goes out of bounds, point Rebels. Tying the game, 4-4. DGF serves the ball, received by the Vikings, set up, sent across. Bumped back across by the Rebels, received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked across by Anna Roysum. Point Vikings. In for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. In for her sister, number 5, Grace Backstrom. Serving for the Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. As Coach Eisman gives her girls some directions. Korf sends the ball across, received by Camille Costello, set up, spiked across, received by the Vikings, sent across, point Vikings. Korf sends her serve across and hits the net, point Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 12, Peyton Backus. Ball sent across, received by Morgan Korf. Sent across. Dug out by the Rebels, spiked across, goes right off the net. Sent back across by Ellie Welch. Spiked into the net by the Rebels, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Now serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Roysum sends her serve across. It goes out, giving the point to the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 13, Layla Fuss. Sends the ball across, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings, set up. Spiked over by Ellie Welch. Point Vikings! Now serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Haugrud sends the ball across, received by the Rebels. Set up, spiked over. Point for the Rebels by number 18, Aria Garrett. The DGF students section now shouting, she's a freshman. Number 18, Aria Garrett is in fact a freshman. In fact, a 6'1" freshman at that. Ball sent across by number 8, Lindsay Navela. Spiked across by Marie Backstrom, excuse me. Point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom sends the ball across. Received by the Rebels. Spiked across. Ball goes into the ground. Point Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 4, Madison Schmidt. Schmidt sends the ball across. And goes right into the ground for an ace by number 4, Madison Schmidt. Tying the game, once again, 9-9. Ball is sent across. Out. Point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings. Now number 14, Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball across. Point Vikings. Ball goes into the net. Point DGF. Now serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Costello sends the ball across. Received by Hazel Haugrud for the Vikings. Set up. Spiked across. Block attempt. Point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Eisman sends the ball across, received by the Rebels. Sent across, goes into the net. Point Vikings. Vikings now lead 13-10. A timeout is called by the DGF Rebels. We will also take a quick timeout, and we'll come back to the Pelican Rapids Vikings winning over the DGF Rebels 13-10. Welcome back to the Rebel Gym, where the DGF Rebels are taking on the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Vikings currently lead 13-10 in the second set. DGF took the first set, 25-22, serving now for the Vikings. Number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Eisman sends the ball across, received by Camille Costello for the Rebels. Ball goes into the ground. Point by number 9, Anna Roysum for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Eisman preparing to serve for the Vikings. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels. Point Vikings for 2 touches. Ball sent across by the Vikings. Spiked across by the Rebels, but received by the Vikings. Touched across, blocked, but sent out of bounds, but touched by the Vikings, giving the Rebels their 11th point. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Ball sent across, received by Morgan Korf, set up. Sent across, but blocked by the Rebels. Sent back across. Point Vikings! Now serving for the Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels, set up, spiked right across, but blocked by the Vikings. Received right back by the Rebels. Spiked across, received by Kelsey Eisman. Point Rebels. Now serving for the Rebels, number 12, Peyton Backus. Backus, a 5'11" senior. Ball sent across, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Bumped across, received by Camille Costello. Set up. Spiked across, received by the Vikings. Sent across, received by the Rebels. Spiked over, bumped up. Sent over by Anna Roysum, received by the Rebels. Set up, spiked across, but blocked by the Vikings. Point Pelican Rapids. Now serving for the Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Roysum sends the ball across. Sent over by the Rebels. Spiked into the net by Marie Backstrom, giving the point to your DGF Rebels. Serving now to the DGF Rebels, Layla Fuss, number 13. Fuss sends the ball across, received by the Vikings. Set up. Set across, but blocked. Received back by the Vikings, sent back across. Bumped over by the Rebels. Spiked over by Marie Backstrom. Net violation gives the DGF Rebels a point. And one of the classic chants of high school sports. You can't do that. Point goes to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Now serving for the Vikings, number 1, Hazel Hogrud. Sent across, received by the Rebels. Spiked, but blocked by the Vikings. Point Vikings. Vikings now lead 19-14 over your DGF Rebels. Ball goes out of bounds, point Rebels. In for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson, and number 8, Lindsay Navela. Navela will be serving. Ball is sent across, received by the Vikings. Set up, tipped across, spiked over. Point, Rebels. Ball sent across by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Spiked over. Point by Morgan Korf for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. In for the Vikings, number 5, Grace Backstrom. Serving for the Vikings, Grace's sister, Marie Backstrom. Ball sent across, received by the Rebels. Set up, spiked across. Point, Rebels. Last point by Aria Garrett. Serving for the Rebels, now Madison Schmidt. Ball sent across. Received by the Vikings. Spiked over, spiked into the net. Point, Rebels. Pulling out a new ball. Schmidt sends a serve over the net, received by the Vikings. Set up. Spiked over by Welch, blocked. Point, Vikings. Last point by Ellie Welch. Welch also serving for the Vikings. Ball sent across by Welch, received by the Rebels. Bumped across. Ball spiked across by Kelsey Eisman. Ball set back across by the Rebels. Ball blocked by the Rebels. Point, Vikings. Welch serving for the Vikings, sends a ball across, received by the Rebels. Ball spiked right into the ground by number 9, Anna Roysum. The timeout is called by the DGF Rebels. We'll take a quick timeout and come back for the end of set 2 in your game between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Welcome back. The end of set 2 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and the DGF Rebels. Vikings serving for the Vikings. Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball across, received by the Rebels, set up. Blocked by the Vikings. Ball sent out of bounds by the Vikings. Point, Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. That gives Costello another ace for tonight. Ball sent across and out of bounds. Point, Pelican Rapids. That makes set point for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Ball sent across by Eisman, received by the Rebels. Sent back across, received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked by Roysum, into the ground, point Roysum. Giving the second set to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Both teams have now won one set. We will be back in a couple minutes for your third set.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are four of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
Welcome to set 3 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and your DGF Rebels. A couple other games happening today. Barnesville took set 1 over Hawley 25-21. And Hawley now leads Barnesville 16-6 in set 2. Detroit Lakes takes 2 sets over Park Rapids 25-17 and 25-22. Wadena Deer Creek takes set 1, 25-17 over Sabika. Now serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 1, Hazel Hogrud. Ball sent across by the Rebels. Received by Morgan Court for the Vikings. Sent across, blocked by the Rebels. Point Rebels! Serving for the Rebels, number 4, Maddie Schmidt. Schmidt sends the ball across. Received by Morgan Court for the Vikings. Spiked across, right into the ground. Point by number 11, Kelsey Eisman for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom sends the ball across. Received by Peyton Backus for the Rebels, sent back across. Set up by the Vikings. Sent over. Ball spiked across. Point by number 12, Peyton Backus for the for the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Costello sends a ball across, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Blocked by the Rebels, giving them the point. Ball is sent across into the net by number 6, Camille Costello, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. DGF leads the Pelican Rapids Vikings 3-2. Serving for the Vikings, now number 14, Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball across, received by the Rebels. Sent across by Peyton Backus for the Rebels. Point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings on a spike by number 9, Anna Roysum, that went off the hands of a DGF Rebel. Ties the game 3-3. Ball served by Ellie Welch. Gives Ellie Welch an ace for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Welch sends the ball across, giving her another point and another ace for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Welch sends the ball into the net, giving the point to the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Ball tipped over, but sent right back over with the block. Received by the Rebels, set up, spiked over, set up, spiked back over, received by the Rebels. Point by DGF Rebels, Layla Fuss. Tying the game 5-5. Serving for the Rebels, Kaylee Peterson, number 15. Peterson sends the ball across. Ball goes into the net. Point Rebels. Rebels lead the Vikings 6-5. Ball goes across. Point by Anna Roysum for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Ties the game 6-6. Serving for the Vikings, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Ball sent across. Into the ground by the Rebels. Last point by Layla Fuss. Serving now for the Rebels, number 12, Peyton Backus. Net violation by the Rebels gives a point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings, tying the game 7-7. Serving for the Vikings, now Morgan Korf. Korf sends the ball across. Spiked way over their heads. Point Vikings. Ball dug out by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Sent over by the Rebels. Dug out once more by Morgan Korf. Ball goes into the ground, giving the point to the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 13, Layla Fuss. Fuss sends the ball into the net, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Anna Roysum, number 9, now serving for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Vikings send the ball across, received by the Rebels. Sent over by Camille Costello. Sent into the net by Marie Backstrom, giving the point to the DGF Rebels, tying the game once again 9-9. Timeout is called by the Pelican Rapids Vikings. We'll take a short timeout as well and be back for your game between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings, currently tied 9-9.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to set 3 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and your DGF Rebels. Teams tied currently 9-9. Ball sent across by number 8, Lindsay Navela. Spiked over but blocked by the Rebels. Sent back over, received by Camille Costello. Set up. Spiked over. Point by number 15, Kaylee Peterson for the DGF Rebels. Rebels now lead 10-9. Nevela sends the ball across, received by Kelsey Eisman for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Spiked across, blocked into the net. Point Vikings, point by Ellie Welch. Serving now for the Vikings, number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Ball sent across by Haugrud, received by the Rebels, set up. Spiked over, spiked into the net, but blocked. Point Pelican Rapids. Ball sent over. Received by the Vikings. Spiked over, spiked out of bounds by Kelsey Eisman, giving the point to the DGF Rebels, tying the game once again, 11-11. Serving for DGF number 4, Madison Schmidt. Schmidt sends the ball over, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Tipped over by Ellie Welch. Sent back over by the Rebels. Sent immediately back over by the Rebels after a nice spike by Morgan Korf. Last point, Pelican Rapids. Scored by number 15, Marie Backstrom. Vikings now lead 12-11, Backstrom serving. Backstrom sends the ball across. Received by the Rebels. Blocked by the Vikings. Sent back over. Point Rebels, tying the game once again, 12-12. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Costello sends the ball over. Received by Ellie Welch for the Vikings, sent over. And out of bounds, Point Rebels. Ball sent across the net. Received by the Rebels. Spiked over. Set up. Ball bumped over by Kelsey Eisman. Received by Camille Costello. Spiked over. That last point by number 15, Kaylee Peterson for the DGF Rebels. Rebels lead 14-12 over the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Camille Costello serving for your DGF Rebels. Costello sends the ball short, but is hit by the Vikings into the net. Point Rebels. Ball sent over, received by number 1, Hazel Hogard. Sent across by Ellie Welch. Ball goes out of bounds, point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 14, Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball into the net, giving the DGF Rebels their 16th point. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Peterson sends the ball across, is received by Anna Roysum for the Vikings. Roysum sends the ball over the net. Spiked over by the Rebels. Tipped over by Roysum right into the ground. Point Pelican Rapids Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 11, Kelsey Eisman. Ball received by the Rebels. And blocked by the Vikings, giving them their 15th point. Ball sent over by the Vikings. Spiked over by the Rebels, but received by Morgan Court for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. She makes a long bump across. Tipped over by Anna Roysum, giving the point to the Pelican Rapids Vikings, tying the game once again, 16-16. A game of no comfort for either team. Ball received by the Rebels. Spiked over. Set up. Spike right into the ground by number 1, Hazel Hogrud, giving the Pelican Rapids Vikings their 17th point. Eisman sends the ball over. Camille Costello receives it for the Rebels. Spiked over. Ball goes right in the ground, giving the DGF Rebels their 17th point, tying the game once again. Serving for the Rebels, number 12, Peyton Backus. Backus sends the ball over the net. Korf receives. And Anna Roysum sends the ball into the ground once again, giving the Vikings their 18th point. Serving for the Vikings. Number 2, Morgan Korf. Korf sends the ball across. Ball tipped across by number 15, Marie Backstrom, giving the Pelican Rapids Vikings the 19th point. Korf sends the ball over. Received by the Rebels. Sent right back over by the Vikings. No time wasted. Point Vikings. The DGF Rebels call a timeout as the Vikings lead over the Rebels 20-17. We'll rejoin you for the last couple points of the third set shortly.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to the third set between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and your DGF Rebels. Morgan Korf serves for the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Set up. Sent across by the Rebels. Spiked across by Kelsey Eisman for the Vikings. Spiked right back across. Point Rebels! That last point by number 17, Madeline Iwan. Serving for the Rebels, number 13, Lila Fuss. Fuss sends the ball across. Received by Morgan Korf. Sent across by Anna Roysum. Spiked across by Ava Garrett. Blocked, but sent back over by the Vikings. Spiked over, received by Kelsey Eisman. Set up. Spiked over, received by the Rebels. Received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked over. Sent over by the Vikings, received by the Rebels. Bumped into the net by the Rebels, giving the Vikings the point. Now serving for the Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Ball sent to the ground by the Rebels, giving them their 19th point. Serving for the Rebels, number 8, Lindsay Navela. Navela sends the ball across. Spiked over by Kelsey Eisman. Bumped up by Morgan Korf. Block attempt by the Rebels. Spiked over. Vikings receive, set up. Spiked over by Ellie Welch right into the ground. Ellie Welch give the Vikings their 22nd point. Serving for the Vikings, number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Haugard sends the ball across. Sent over by the Rebels, received by the Vikings. Set up. Spiked over by Kelsey Eisman. Ball set up. Tipped over. Set up. Sent over by Morgan Court for the Vikings. Sent back over by the Rebels. Set up. Bumped up. Bumped over. Received by the Rebels. Set up. Spiked over. Spiked out of bounds. Point Vikings. Timeout is called by DGF. When we rejoin you, set point for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Not quite set point, but could be set point. Excuse me. But the Vikings lead 23-19 over the DGF Rebels when we come back right here on Magnitude Sports.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are four of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Welcome back. As the Vikings lead 23-19 over the Rebels, Hayden Haugard sends the ball across. Rebels send the ball right into the arms of Morgan Court. The ball is blocked. Sent back over by Welch. Received by Camille Costello. Set up. Spiked over. Received by Morgan Korf once again. Bumped across. Received by the Rebels. Set up. Spiked across. Point Rebels! Serving now for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Costello serves. Spiked over by Marie Backstrom. Spiked back over by the Rebels. Point Rebels. Little bit of confusion with the scoreboards. As that issue is quickly resolved. And Michaela Bielen serves for the Rebels. Ball sent across. Point by number 11, Kelsey Eisman for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, making it set point for the Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom sends the ball across, received by the Rebels, set up, spiked over, bumped over. Point Rebels! Serving now for the Rebels, number 6, Camila Costello. Costello sends the ball across onto the arms of Morgan Korf. Welch sends the ball back across. Set up by the Rebels, spiked across, blocked by the Vikings, but saved by the Rebels. Sent across, point Vikings! That last point by number 11, Kelsey Eisman, winning set 3 for the Vikings, 25-22. We'll rejoin you with set 4. Possibly deciding the winner of this game shortly.
Did you know that healthy people make healthy communities? It's true. Choosing not to drink alcohol, not to vape, not to smoke, and making the choice to not use drugs are four of the best life choices you can make today. Did you also know that over half of your peers are not drinking, vaping, smoking, and are also choosing against drugs? If you are struggling with any of these choices, have a talk with a parent or trusted school staff member. For more information, search Clay County Public Health on Facebook, and remember that healthy people make healthy communities.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success. Doolittle's Wood-Fire Grill is an experience that ignites your senses, featuring wood-fired rotisserie cooking. Grilling meat over an open flame creates that savory wood-roasted flavor, while the rotisserie rotation results in juicy and succulent meats. Doolittle's even has an outdoor fire pit that creates a relaxing setting to wine and dine for any occasion. Visit DoolittlesRestaurants.com for a full menu or to make a reservation. Doolittle's Wood-Fire Grill, 2112 25th Street South in Fargo, or call ahead at 701-478-2200.
Welcome to set 4 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and the home team, the DGF Rebels, as the classic, the YMCA plays, and even past Principal Glenn Morkey joining in. Pelican Rapids has won set 2 and 3, and DGF won set 1. DGF wins this set, we'll go on to set 5. If Pelican wins this set, the game is complete. A lot of water bottles being passed around, a lot of YMCA being danced, and a lot of volleyball left to be played. Rebels will be serving the ball. Serving for them is number 8, Lindsay Navela. Navela sends the ball across. Immediately sent back across by Marie Baxton for the Vikings. Set up. Spiked across, blocked by the Rebels. Sent across by the Vikings. Scrambling for the ball. Point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom sends the ball across. Set up. Ball goes into the net. Point Vikings. The last score will be counted on 4 touches. Ball sent across the net. Spiked across, into the ground. Point Rebels. In for the Rebels, number 3, Michaela Bieland.
Michaela Bieland now serving for the Rebels.
Bieland serving. Ball is sent across into the arms of Hazel Haukrut. Spiked across by Morgan Korf. Off the arms of Camille Costello, spiked across, received by the Vikings, set up. Spiked back across, blocked. Spiked across, right into the arms of Morgan Korf. Morgan Korf with a long bump over the net. Rebels. Spiked the ball across, right back into the arms of Morgan Korf. Ball goes into the ground. Point Vikings. Serving for the Vikings. Now number 14, Ellie Welch. Welch sends the ball across. Ball goes into the ground. Point Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Ball set up by the Vikings. Point Rebels for 2 touches by the Vikings. Tying the game 3-3. If anybody gets bored, go back and count how many times I said the word tie in this match. Ball spiked across, received by the Rebels. Sent back across, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Ball sent back across by the Rebels. Set up. Spiked over. Point by number 11, Kelsey Eisman for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Eisman serving. Ball is sent across. Set up. Spiked. Right across, off the arms of Morgan Korf, off into the back bleachers, tying the game once again. Add a number to your list. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Peterson sends the ball across. Tipped across. Spiked into the net. Point Vikings. Vikings now lead 5-4. Serving for the Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. Korf sends a ball across. Ball goes out of bounds. Point Vikings. Ball sent across the net. Point Vikings with the reach over the net by the Rebels. Korf sends the ball across. Tipped over. Point Vikings. Korf sends the ball across. Korf gets an ace for the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Timeout is called by the DGF Rebels. We'll take a quick timeout and come back with some more Rebels versus Vikings volleyball.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to set 4 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings leading the DGF Rebels 9-4. Couple score updates for you. DL won 3-0 over Park Rapids and Perm 3-0 over Frazee. Serving for the Vikings now is Morgan Korf. Korf sends the ball across, received by the Rebels. Just barely gets over the net. Hogard sends the ball across. Point Vikings. Vikings now on a 5-point run. Ball sent across. Ball tipped across. Point Rebels. In for the Rebels, number 4, Madison Schmidt. And serving at number 12, Peyton Backus. Backus sends the ball across. Eisman with a very, very nice very nice spike over the net, giving the Vikings their 11th point. Now serving for the Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Received by the Rebels, tipped across. Ball just barely misses going over the net for a Rebels point. Serving for DGF, number 13, Layla Fuss. Fuss sends the ball over the net, off the arms of Kelsey Eisman. Blocked. Point Vikings. Serving now for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 1, Hazel Hogard. Hogard sends the ball across. Ball spiked across. Point Rebels! In for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Serving for the Rebels, number 8, Lindsay Nevela. Nevela sends the ball across. Point Rebels! Ball sent across the net. Spiked over. The attack by number 15, Kaylee Peterson, gives the Rebels their 9th point. Ball sent over. Set up. Spiked over. Point Vikings. Last point by number 14, Ellie Welch. Serving for the Vikings, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom serves the ball across. Spiked into the net and blocked. Point Vikings. Ball sent across by Backstrom, received by the Rebels, tipped across. Point Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 4, Madison Schmidt. Pelican Rapids Vikings call a timeout, and we will as well. We'll be back shortly as the Vikings lead 14-10 over the DGF Rebels.
There's no question that yield is at the core of everything we do at Stein. It's why we are here today, and it's what will continue to propel us and our growers into the future of agriculture. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans provide a significant dollar per acre yield benefit, plus access to the best weed control in the industry. That is yield plus results. Yield expected, yield delivered. Stein Enlist E3 soybeans have yield.
Welcome back to set 4 between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Rebels serving. Madison Schmidt sends the ball across. Ball sent back across to the Rebels. Set up. Spiked over. Point by number 18, Aria Garrett. Take a minute to dry off the floor. An important task that must be done. Rebels send the ball across, received by the Vikings. Set over. Point Vikings! Some question on that one. But what the ref says is what the ref says. Serving for the Vikings, number 14, Ellie Welch. Point Rebels for 2 touches by the Vikings. Serving for the Rebels, number 6, Camille Costello. Costello looking to coach Tessa Tisver. And the ace goes to Camille Costello. Ball goes across. Set up. Point by number 11, Kelsey Eisman for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, giving them their 16th point. Eisman serving. Eisman sends the ball across. Spiked out of bounds. Point Vikings. Ball goes into the net. Another point goes to the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Timeout is called by head coach Tessa Tisver for the DGF Rebels. We'll take a quick timeout and rejoin you as the Pelican Rapids Vikings lead 18-13 over the DGF Rebels.
Doolittle's Wood-Fired Grill is an experience that ignites your senses, featuring wood-fired rotisserie cooking. Grilling meat over an open flame creates that savory wood-roasted flavor, while the rotisserie rotation results in juicy and succulent meats. Doolittle's even has an outdoor fire pit that creates a relaxing setting to wine and dine for any occasion. Visit DoolittlesRestaurants.com for a full menu or to make a reservation. Doolittle's Wood-Fired Grill, 2112 25th Street South in Fargo, or call ahead at 701-478-2200.
Welcome back to set 4 between the Pelican Rapids Vikings and the DGF Rebels. Vikings preparing to serve. Number 11, Kelsey Eisman sends the ball into the net for a point for the DGF Rebels. Serving for the Rebels, number 15, Kaylee Peterson. Peterson sends the ball across. For an ace. Peterson sends the ball across. Is there some confusion on the Vikings side? Giving the DGF Rebels their 16th point. After some direction by Coach Eisman, I think everything's figured out. Ball tipped across, set up, spiked over by the Vikings, received by the Rebels, spiked over, received by Morgan Korf for the Vikings. Point goes to DGF. As they near tying it up. One more point will tie the game 18-18. Ball sent over the net. Set up. Spiked out of bounds. Point Vikings. Serving now for the Pelican Rapids Vikings, number 2, Morgan Korf. Korf only a freshman this year. Ball sent out of bounds, point Vikings. Korf sends the ball across. Set up by the Rebels. Spiked across, blocked. Bumped across by the Vikings. Point Rebels. Peyton Backus serving. Peyton Backus also got that last point for the DGF Rebels. Backus sends the ball over the net. Set up, spiked over, received by Ellie Welch for the Vikings. Long bump pass over the net. Spiked into the ground by number 13, Layla Fuss for the DGF Rebels. Timeout is called as the DGF Rebels near tying the game. Vikings still lead by 1 point, 20-19. We'll rejoin you shortly for the last, possibly the last couple points of this game.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to set 4 between the DGF Rebels and the Pelican Rapids Vikings. Vikings lead by 1 point as DGF serves the ball. Received by Morgan Korf, set up. Sent over, point Vikings! Now serving for the Vikings, number 9, Anna Roysum. Roysum sends the ball across, received by Camille Costello for the Rebels. Ball spiked into the net. Point Vikings. As Coach Eisman hands Marie Backstrom a towel once again to try to dry off the floor. It's getting to that time of the night. Roysum prepares to serve the ball. Grayson sends the ball into the net, giving the Rebels their 20th point. Serving for the DGF Rebels, number 13, Layla Fuss. Fuss, a 5'8" junior this year. Ball sent across, received by Ellie Welch for the Vikings. Set up. Spiked across by Kelsey Eisman, received by the Rebels. And the Vikings will get their 23rd point after 2 touches by the Rebels. Now serving for the Vikings, number 1, Hazel Haugrud. Haugrud, a sophomore outside hitter. As Coach Jill Royce tries once more to try off the floor. Ball sent across. Backwards bump. Into the ground. Point Rebels! Now serving for the Rebels, number 8, Lindsay Nevela. Nevela, a 5'3" senior. Ball sent across. Point Vikings! Making it match point. Serving, number 15, Marie Backstrom. Backstrom sends the ball across. Received by the Rebels, bumped up. Spiked across, received by Hazel Haugrud for the Vikings, set up. Tipped across. Point Vikings! Vikings win this match 3-1 after 4 sets. As Coach Eisman said earlier, we are in for a very good game tonight, and we sure were treated. We'll be back and select your player of the game after a couple words by our sponsors.
Buying, selling, or leasing commercial real estate or farmland in the Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding area? From office to retail, industrial to multifamily, commercial land to farmland. As the #1 commercial, sales, and leasing brokerage in the FM region, Goldmark Commercial has the experience and skills to handle all of your commercial real estate and farmland needs with the highest levels of customer service and marketing around. Trust the experts at Goldmark Commercial Real Estate to lead your team to success.
Welcome back to the DGF Rebel Gym. As Pelican Rapids wins over DGF 3-1. DGF's next games will be a tournament at Ada Borup High School on the 10th. And then they'll play a non-conference game in Bemidji on the 13th. Pelican Rapids play at home on the 10th versus Breckenridge at their own tourney. And then the 13th play a non-conference game at home versus Monaga. Player of the game for Pelican Rapids, Miss Kelsey Eisman. Eisman, a very strong player. Not only this year, she's continued to improve from last year, which is absolutely incredible. She's an amazing player last year, improving this year, and a big part of why the Vikings were able to pull away with this game. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Magnitude Sports Media Network, and we'll see you tomorrow night for the Friday Night Lights.
Seating has been a presentation of the Magnitude Sports Network. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, and visit our website at magnitudesn.com for a schedule of our upcoming broadcasts.